Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am so excited because I am doing a full review and wear test of the new Dior Captured Totale Super Potent Serum Foundation. So this was actually released a little bit ago, but I heard no one mention this and it just really intrigued me because it is a skincare-based foundation, and skincare-based foundations are some of my favorites. For example, the Chanel Sublimage L'Essence Détente is my number one, and a close second is the Clé de Peau Radiant Fluid Foundation Natural. Both are skincare based, and I just knew that I had to try this out, and I have seen no other reviews for it, so I am so curious about this foundation. Now, I have worn this a few times because I did want to give this a full review and not just a first impressions. And as a spoiler alert, this is one of the most phenomenal foundations, if not the number one foundation that I have ever tried. So I'm just going to go over a few things about this foundation. I did pick this up in the shade 3N. Now, Dior usually does a great job of releasing their foundations in different undertones, such as warm and cool, as well as neutral. But in this release, at least in Canada, they just have neutral undertones. So I thought 3N would work the best for me, and I think it is a perfect match, actually. It is not too warm nor too cool. So this is a serum-based foundation that harnesses the science of mother cells and Dior's skincare expertise. It acts to correct 4 facial skin parameters for a youthful complexion by targeting wrinkles, dark spots, and loss of firmness and radiance. The serum foundation's melt-in, luminous texture instantly leaves skin smooth, radiant, and supple. The foundation stays in place all day, providing comfort and hydration for a long-lasting plumping effect. Enriched with the Dior Garden's exceptional Longoza flower, known for its revitalizing properties, the super potent serum foundation visibly improves facial firmness and the appearance of wrinkles. So that is definitely a lot of claims, and I can't say anything about how it is improving my skin texture because, again, I have only tried this out like 5 times. So obviously you're going to have to wear this for a lot longer to see those benefits. But I think the packaging of this is beautiful as well. It comes in glass packaging. It is quite hefty, which I really enjoy with my luxury beauty products. I like them to feel luxe, and this definitely does. Now, this does have a slight fragrance to it. I'm guessing that's from the flower extract, but there are no oils in this foundation, which I am very happy about because I have sensitive skin and oil tends to irritate my skin. This is also 1 fluid ounce and it is made in France. So I just am so excited about this foundation. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. And as well, I am going to be doing in this video another look with the Chanel Mediterraneen eyeshadow quad, just because I wanted to show you that this is a more versatile palette from the look that I initially created. So if you want to see my full review and wear test of the new Dior Super Potent Serum Foundation, just stay tuned. So while I am focusing this review on the Dior foundation, I am going to do a full get ready with me. Please let me know if you like this or if you prefer me just to get into the foundation review, but sometimes just people ask what I'm wearing, so I just figured I would do that as well. So I'm actually I wanted to complete a few different looks with this palette just because I love it so much, and I want to show you you can get more than just one look out of this palette because it kind of looks like you can only get one look. So one of my subscribers, Nikki J, actually advised me that she was watching a Star Aura palette application, and someone went in with the most glittery shade as a base. And I thought that was a great idea because then it won't look as glittery when you layer other shadows over top. So instead of using it as a topper, an eyeshadow topper at the end, I'm going to use it to kind of prime the eyes. So I'm taking this shade right here on just a flat shader brush from Sonia G. This is the Builder 2. And I'm using this and applying it all over the lid. And so definitely this is the most shimmery in the palette. You can see some very minuscule glitter flecks. It's not like a complete glitter, but this is definitely the most shimmery in the palette for sure. And next I'm going to take a Wayne Goss 18 brush, and I'm going to dip into this deepest shade here in the palette that kind of has a little bit of a green undertone. And for this shade, I'm just going to press it on the outside corner. So with this, I'm not even bringing it into the crease at all. I'm literally just pressing it on the outer corner, kind of getting it, I'm not going to say a harsh line, but it's a little harsher than I want it to be in the long run. So the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to take this shimmery shade right here. It's kind of the most taupe neutral shade in the palette. I'm going to take this on a Sonia G Blender Pro, and I am going to blend out that darkest shade. And I'm just going to kind of blend it around the edges and make this a little softer. So I am blending it into that outer corner, just blending that dark shade. And then I am going to bring it into about the outer half of the crease. I'm not going to bring it all the way across. And now I have mentioned that these can be used wet or dry because they are that big Chile formula. So I'm going to take this shade right down here, and I'm going to take this again on that same Sonia G Builder 2 that I used to prime the eyes with. And I'm just going to spritz that shade with my Chantecaille Rose de May Pure Rose Water. So just getting that a little wet. And then I am going to go on to the eye. So this will give that shade more intensity. So it's going to go on with more opacity. And it covers up that more sparkly shade nicely, but you can still see a bit of that shimmer through. So I actually think I like using this better with that more glittery shade as the primer, so to speak. So I'm using it as a base underneath this shimmery shade because, I don't know, the glitter reflect isn't as intense when you use it this way, so I really enjoy that. So I don't know if you can tell, but you get way more intensity when you use those shadows wet. And then just to make sure everything is blended out, I'm going to run over the edges with that Sonia G Blender Pro brush. I'm going to take my Wayne Goss 7 brush, which is just a smudging brush, and I'm going to dip into this deepest shade here. And I'm just going to use that as an eyeliner just to get a little bit of depth across the top lash line. And I'm literally just smudging this into the lash line. Again, because this is an eyeshadow, you don't have to be as precise as you would with an eyeliner. And for the lower lash line, I'm just going to go in with this taupey shade, and I'm going to apply that to my lower lash line, just working that from the outer corner inwards. And for mascara, I'm starting off with my favorite lash primer, which is the Dior Maximizer 3D Lash Primer, and then going over top with 2 coats of the Kjaer Weis I'm Possible mascara, and I'll be back for the face. Mascara is on, and I just have to say I love how this eye look came together, and I love using this as a base shadow. So thank you so much for that recommendation, because I think it looks even more beautiful using this as a base versus a topper. And now I'm going to move on to concealer. So I'm just going to keep with the Dior theme and use the Dior Forever Skin Correct in the shade 2N. This is one of my favorite concealers of all time. So I'm just applying that to my under eyes, and then I like to clean up that outer corner here. And I do like to apply concealer before foundation. I just think foundation always blends better when I apply my concealer first. So I'm just going to take a damp Beauty Blender sponge to blend that in. So now I'm going to discuss the new Dior Captured Totale Super Potent Serum Foundation. So this is not a first impression. I have tried out this foundation a few times just because I like to, I like to do full reviews. I'm not so much of a fan of first impressions because your mind can change after the first time you use it. And I actually really like this foundation when I don't use a primer. So I have gone ahead and skipped primer. I just have my skincare that I applied earlier this morning. I'm just going to go ahead and give this a good shake. So again, I got the shade 3N in this, and it comes in this beautiful glass bottle, and it does have a pump. So I'm going to go ahead and start with just one pump. And if you can see the texture of this foundation, it's actually not as runny as some of my other serum foundations. So like the Chanel Sublimage is a much runnier consistency. This almost feels like a gel consistency when you feel it. It's a little thicker than I would have assumed being a serum foundation. So again, I'm just going to start off with that one pump of the foundation. And this does, I want to say, it has a fragrance to it, but it's not super perfumey. But if you are extremely sensitive to fragrance, I did want to make that noted because you can definitely smell a little bit of it. But for me, this does not irritate my sensitive skin, and I do have very sensitive skin. So that's important to me in a foundation. I, again, don't mind if it has a little bit of fragrance as long as it dissipates, and this one does. So with that one pump of foundation, it gives a very, very beautiful light coverage. Definitely not medium or anything like that, but it really just does a great job of blurring the skin. So it really perfects the skin, not with a lot of coverage, but with this very perfected blurring effect. It almost looks like you've used a smoothing tool on your skin, truly. It is so pretty. And then I am going to build it up, so I'm going to go in with a second pump of foundation just because I want to show you how amazingly this builds up. Again, you're not going to get anything that's like full coverage. I would say you can get a medium coverage, and it's just buildable to that medium level. So I'm just going to apply it again over the skin. And this just looks so soft focus on the skin. It truly blurs. Like, you don't need to use a pore blurring primer if that's kind of what you usually do in this area, because it instantly smooths that texture there. It lays over any dryness on the skin amazingly. Like, it doesn't emphasize any dry texture. It doesn't sit in any fine lines or wrinkles or anything like that. truly impeccable for how it looks on the skin. I was wowed when I first applied this. And I did have an irritation to the Victoria Beckham cream blush. I figured out it was the Victoria Beckham cream blush because I tried to apply it another day. And then I also got some texture on this side where it was only on this side before. So I do have a little bit of texture on my skin right now from that. And it is just smoothing over that area. It is incredible. It looks so beautiful over my pores and everything. I am shocked more people aren't talking about this foundation because honestly, I'm wowed by how this looks on the skin. It is phenomenal. And it looks so lightweight on the skin and it feels lightweight. It doesn't feel like you have makeup on the skin and it doesn't look like you have makeup sitting on top of your skin. So this is very much an enhancing foundation. It looks like your skin but better. You can still see a bit of my freckles shining through, but I really like that. I like something that, again, is that light to medium coverage. I like something that can be buildable to medium coverage if I'm in the mood for it. And this does just that. It looks so nice. And I really love the finish of this. This is very much a velvet finish. So I don't detect any dewiness. It's not emphasizing any texture because it looks too glowy or anything like that. It really just does look super soft focus on the skin and is just enhancing my skin. It's making my skin look better, I think. I just thought I would do a little bit more of a close-up so you could see the skin up close. Like I said, I do have a little bit of texture on my cheeks from having that reaction to the cream blush, but it sits beautifully over those areas. I don't feel like it's emphasizing. If anything, I feel like it's blurring that texture on the skin. And then I'm just going to go ahead and finish off my face so I can just do that on camera. So I'm going to stick to Dior products today. I'm going to use the Dior Forever Natural Bronzer in the shade 05 Warm Bronze. I do really enjoy this bronzer because it is matte and it doesn't emphasize texture or anything. And I also should note, I did not powder my skin. I think at the end I'll powder one half of my skin just to see if I can get away with that all day. Usually I'll apply powder at the very end, but this applies beautifully over top. The bronzer does. I don't feel like you need to set it down. I do not have oily skin though. I have dry skin, so I'm not sure how it would work for oilier skin types. I'm also going to take that bronzer on just a pencil brush and run that across the lower lash line just to complete the look. And for highlighter, I'm going to take the Dior Forever Couture Luminizer in the shade 01 Nude Glow. So this is definitely a more intense highlighter, but it's intense because it is quite shiny on the skin, but it's not super noticeable. Like there's no glitter chunks or anything like that. It just adds a beautiful sheen to the top of your cheekbones. It just has a lot of pigmentation right off the bat, but it still blends into the skin very beautifully. It still gives your skin that glossy effect. And for blush, I'm taking the Dior Charnelle blush. This is my favorite Dior blush. It is so beautiful. And yes, mine shattered a little bit because I did take it. I went and stayed at my mom's for a few days, and I took it there, and unfortunately, because this is so finely milled, it did break a little bit, so I'm just being very, very careful with this. But this is just a perfect Your Cheeks But Better shade. It is pigmented, but it's not too pigmented because it blends really easily into the skin, and it just looks like Your Cheeks But Better. It is so pretty, and this goes with any sort of look. So if you wanted to wear a brighter lip or you wanted to do your eyes really smoky or something like that, this just pairs well with any look that you want to wear. This is just a very skin-like blush, so it really melts into the skin, which is my favorite thing. Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Lip Cheat for my lip liner, and I'm just going to line my lips and fill them in a little bit. And Dior Lip Maximizer Hyaluronic Lip Plumper in the shade 013. I believe that is beige. And I'm just going to use this as my lip color today. And then I just rub over everything to blend it in so it doesn't look really harsh on the lips. And for the final step, I'm just going to set one half of my face. So I'm taking the Clé de Peau Refining Pressed Powder, and I'm just going to use this on, I don't know, let's use it on the right side of my face. So I'm just going to press that into any areas, and I'm just going to leave it as that. I just want to see if there is a difference between powdering the skin and then not powdering the skin. So I feel like initially I can't really detect a difference, and this powder is super refining on the skin, so it really blurs the appearance of pores and texture as well. But because this foundation already did such a good job of that, I don't really notice a huge difference with this powder over top. Maybe just a little bit, like a subtle bit of mattifying, but again, I think it looked really perfected already, and it looks perfected with that it doesn't have a lot of coverage. It just is so blurring on the skin. It is truly amazing. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. I think all the powder products blended impeccably over top as well. I just am so amazed by this foundation. This is a standout foundation for me. So right now, I do think it looks really amazing. I actually have no complaints. Maybe if I was being very nitpicky, I would say my one complaint is the fragrance, but I don't really care about the fragrance because I think this looks like the most beautiful foundation on my skin. And I am going to come back and do some check-ins because not only is this going to be a full review, I am also going to be doing a wear test so I can show you how beautifully this wears. Spoiler alert. But it is 8 a.m. right now, so I will come back in a few hours and show you how is this holding up. Okay, I want to quickly come back for a check-in. So it has been 4 hours. It's around 4 hours. It's now 2 o'clock. It's actually 1:52. But I just want to show you at this point how amazing this foundation looks. I just think it looks absolutely beautiful on the skin. It is so blurred and poreless, and it doesn't look shiny anywhere. This is just my perfect foundation. I love the level of coverage. I love how it looks through on my skin throughout the day. I don't have anything to complain about, especially at this point where maybe I would see things fading a little bit, or maybe I am getting a little shiny in any areas. I think this just looks absolutely beautiful on the skin. And I don't really see a difference between the powdered side and the unpowdered side either. To me, it still looks really, really flawless. Maybe I'm just like the tiniest bit shiny on this side, but honestly, I still think this foundation is holding up amazing. So I just wanted to quickly check in. Now, my day today is not super rigorous. I'm not doing anything crazy. It is a Saturday, so my only goals on an everyday basis is getting like 10,000 steps. So I have been out for 2 walks today, but I mean, it's just a walk. I'm not doing like cardio or anything. So again, I'm not putting this up to like the extreme test where I'm like moving about all day, but I am getting some activity and I still think this foundation is holding up beautifully. So with all that said, I will be back in a few hours for my final thoughts on this foundation. I am back for my final check-in. It is 7:30, so I didn't quite make it till 8 hours, but I get up at like 4:30. So for me, this is long enough. 11 and a half hours is a pretty good amount of time to wear foundation. So I'm just gonna go over my thoughts. I don't know if you can tell, but for 11 and a half hours, I think this foundation looks fantastic. It honestly, the way it looks on my skin is so beautiful. Whenever I wear this, I can't get over how beautiful it looks on the skin. It hasn't separated, it hasn't faded anywhere, it hasn't creased. And I did acknowledge that I am dealing with some texture on my skin right now from that Victoria Beckham blush, unfortunately. And even though I have a bit of texture on my skin, it hasn't like lifted or anything. It hasn't creased where I have any texture. It looks so beautiful over those areas. And I think that says a lot about a foundation because a lot of the time, even when you're wearing your foundation for this long, it tends to wear away or it doesn't look so good in those areas. But this honestly looks amazing. I am just so impressed with this. My skin just looks so smooth. And for wearing this foundation, it also does not feel heavy on the skin at all. Like I still feel like I'm not really wearing foundation on my skin. It's beautiful, and I think it was a great plumping foundation. Like my skin just feels really great after wearing this foundation, which I think is important as well. I don't want my skin to feel worse after I've applied a foundation, which is why I really like those serum-based or skincare-based foundations. They seem to just work really well for me personally, especially someone that suffers from sensitive skin. Just give you that filtered effect that I'm just such a fan of with foundation. This is probably, I don't want to say it is going to be my #1 foundation, but I do think that this beats out the Chanel Sublimage and Clé de Peau slightly, but this is a bit less expensive than those foundations. So in Canada, it's $98. Not sure what it is in the States. I'm going to guess with the conversion, maybe like $78. But I just am so happy. I am blown away by this foundation. I hope more people start to talk about this because I think this is severely underrated. So overall, super impressed with this foundation. I hope you guys give it a go if you have been interested in this because I give it 2 thumbs up. I think it is amazing. So that is it for today's review of this foundation. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you like it, and I'll see you in my next video.